time.
There it is, man.
Does it need me to stop talking for a just start recording? I can never tell.
Jump up and do a little dance. Gotta entertain the dang old computer, man. Shall we do it?
Oh, we're live now.
You like what you see?
Yeah.
Do, huh?
Uh-oh. It feels like it's doing that sometimes. It's like I'll hit record and it's like a big delay. Like, are you done? Are you talking so I can record?
You ready to be on the dang old TV? Are you?
Don't sound like
it. Yeah.
Man, not a whole lot going on this week. Checking in with the man. See, what's up?
Dude, I'm kind of in the same boat. I haven't done really much of anything, just messing around with video games. I've discovered yet another way to play 2K16 that's the greatest thing ever. And I really haven't done much of anything, man. I watched United get beat again, which sucked. Philly was awful. That 3-0,
Yeah.
They just beat the crap out of us. And then New England wasn't pleasant either. But the Hawks won yesterday, so that's good because we were on if we can just stay away from Philly, Jesus Christ, they killed us twice last week. And it's like, man, can we be done with them? I mean, season's almost over. Let's just not play them anymore. That make me feel better about myself.
Let's be wrapped up.
Yeah, dude, we can live without those guys. The vengeance of Doc Rivers to his former team. Excuse me. Oh, yeah. Sorry. But now the only other thing I've really been doing, there's this YouTube channel that I'm obsessed with. It's called Copa 90. It's just guys, I think I've mentioned them on here before probably. It's guys that go around and they do little mini stories, little mini movies. They're usually less than 10 minutes long. Sometimes the more in deep stuff are 20 minutes, maybe half an hour. They've got one that's an hour long, but there's a lot to it. But they basically just go to different corners of the world and tell soccer stories. I don't know who the hell funds it. I don't know where it came from or how they got to where they are, but the production value is shocking. So much fun. And I just came across one today that was about Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid and the rivalry they have, because everyone knows Real Madrid, Barcelona. And the point of this one is like, there are people that will tell you the Madrid derby is the biggest game in Spain. Let's talk to those people. It was cool, man. It's just one of those cool things where I like soccer anyway, so that's neat. And if it's teams I know, that's cool. But if it's not, it's fascinating. They're always so well done. And for them to be as short as they are, you learn a lot. It's like, this is cool as hell, man. So I've been watching a crap ton of those. And I decided to try something you and I've talked about, man. And this is just trying to be fair. Just trying to be fair. I know that we talked about Do Ya Gig.
Oh, yeah.
Because I listened to the Frankie Kazarian AEW show, which was good. It's like, I love that guy anyway, and it was real cool to learn some stuff about him. So they're talking about Do Ya. And so he's explaining it, and it's all good. So then I decided to go to YouTube and just type in Frankie Kazarian Do Ya. And there's a guy that's done compilations, and it's just the two of them, and it's really, really, really good. So because I enjoyed Do Ya so much, I decided I would check in for the first time in probably 2 years with being the Elite. I just don't get it, man. I love that people love it. I really love that AEW and the Young Bucks have been able to be smart enough to do that, to even try that, because it's not like everybody in the world was using social media to reach out to their fan bases and to make exclusive content, especially not a company that's, got a network TV deal or cable TV deal. National TV deal is what I was trying to say. So I think what they've been able to do with that is totally awesome, and it's something that everybody going forward should probably try and do the same thing. It's just that pardon me, I'm obviously not the target, and that's cool because I just don't like it, man.
Yeah.
Every time I try and look at it, I just don't like it. And I hate to be that way, but I'm glad that people do like it, and I'm glad it's been so successful.
They lost me probably about a year ago. I was probably only able to admit it probably about 3 or 4 months ago, to where I just would still watch it and just be like, what?
I'm just too old, man. It's weird. I don't remember. There's never really been a time that I routinely watched it. I just saw a couple of things. Because most of the stuff I really liked was, I don't even think it was for that show. It was just them. There was the hotel room with, it was the Young Bucks, and I'm pretty sure Kenny and Adam Cole, and they were in Japan, and it was
When
just
it was
them.
more of a travel vlog, it was the jam.
Yeah, it might
But
have.
when it became skits and just comedy that I'm just not into, I'm just like, okay. And
Yeah,
it's been that
yeah,
way for a long time.
it has. Yeah, it's like it's not. I hate it because, but again, I don't hate it because I don't have to have it, and clearly they don't need me to want it. And
Hmm.
I think it's cool. I love that they came up with it because again, it's one of those things we talk about where there's a lot of avenues for creative people to just come up with stuff to try, just something to try. And so that it's worked so well for them, I think that's awesome. I think that's real cool, but that's okay. It's just not. I don't remember what specifically it was that was going on this one, man. It's just like, whatever. I think it was the. Oh, the name of it was funny. That's why I watched it because it was just a picture of Matt and Nick or Mike and Jeff, as Dan Hauser calls them, Mike and Jeff Youngbuck. And it was just them and all their Dior stuff. And so the episode is called The Forbidden Dior. And I'm like, that's pretty funny because the Forbidden Door thing is just so stupid. I hate that anyway. And it's all, oh man, have you heard? Vince is going to partner up with MLW. See, he can work with other companies too. And it's like, of course he can. It's something you and I've talked about a lot, man. There is no rule. There's no rule. There was back in the territory days, and Vince took a shit on that. So the only reason people don't work together now is because he does not want to. So yeah, if he wants to work with MLW, of course he can. He
there,
absolutely can.
there was no rule until I became the territory. Then there was a rule.
Yeah, and there was a rule, and the rule was simply, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
That's as much of a rule as there is, man.
Yeah. And that's it's kind of my take on being the elite. It's like, so with whatever type of video you're into, if you're into watching guys do whatever they're reviewing, whether they're in boxing, whatever they're out hunting for, there's just and with any video, you want to see like improvement along the way. And just it feels like with me, with when it comes to being the elite, I would it's just feels like this acting is getting worse and worse.
It's interesting that
Maybe that's supposed to be part of the joke that I'm just not getting.
the thing that apparently I didn't realize this, but something Kazarian was talking about, and it's amazing to me, man, because I'm just like, a lot of that crap they do now runs on. It goes, all of it's made up, and I'm like, if you started scripting this stuff, it would be god awful. But you've got these 8-9 minute things playing out, and it's just like, yeah, I can definitely see that being one take. It's just not for me. It's not my thing. Because mainly, I guess my main thing with it is that, well, the scripted promos and WWE scripts, guys, I hate that too. I do. I don't care for that stuff. I hate watching people look like they're in a middle school play, trying to remember what thing they were gonna say. I hate that. That's awful. But I'm not an improv guy either. I think with
Yeah,
improv, the thing that always drives me crazy about improv and the
when it's
very
great, it's great,
my thing
and
is
that's very rarely great.
my main thing with improv. I guess it's just a personal thing that drives me nuts because every acting class I've ever been in, people love improv day. Oh, I can't wait to do improv. It's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna take the improv class. Everybody wants to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's improvisation. It's not all fucking comedy. We don't have a script. We can say any fucking thing. We can talk about anything we want to. And no one ever does it. Nobody ever has the fucking balls to try something that's not goddamn funny. It just reminds me of like one act play competition when you were in high school, man. I remember one year we went
Mm-hmm.
and crap, I can't believe I just forgot what school it was. Or maybe it'll come back to me. But one act, you went to one act play competition for us was go and watch Carrollton win, and then see what else everybody does.
If you ever thought the Pirates of Penzance could be done in one act, they found a way.
Yeah, they figured it out, and it was the thing about. I say this all the time in the conversations we've had about the Carrollton Drama Club and the Carrollton High School fill in the blank.
Mm-hmm.
I get it; they got lots of money. People like to talk shit about anyone that's got lots of money. But the kids in the Carrollton Drama Club actually gave a shit too. They really worked hard, and it's like,
It shows.
I understand that production value is why you're handing them the trophy, but it's not why they're winning it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just why the idiots just come in and get blown away by the Gaga and stuff like that. But if you actually, those kids worked hard. They really did. They did an awesome job. So Carrollton winning all the time didn't bother me nearly that much because they were good. It's not like it was just sizzle. They had some beef on that plate too.
Yeah.
But I want to say it was Haralson County, man. That might not be right. But this one year, this one school, I believe it was Haralson County, rolls up and they do this play called Lepers. And the entire stage was like, it's just only, I think it was only 3 or 4 of them. It was very, very small as far as how many people were actually on stage performing. And obviously it takes place in this leper colony, and it's super dark and like just really kind of hard to see and fascinating because nobody ever tried stuff like that. So I remember walking. It was very nice. I was glad this worked out the way it did. But me and somebody that I was there with were walking out having that conversation. It was just the typical sour grapes Carrollton crap, but it's true. It's like, look, man, of course they're going to win. If they show up, they're going to win. Doesn't mean they don't deserve to win. They're quite good. But I'm telling you, man, I said, if I have a vote, I'm giving it to Haralson County just because at least they tried to do something different, you know. And this lady, one of the kids from Haralson County, like their parents were walking by, and she got a little bit hot because all she heard was me mention the name of the school. But she was cool. She was very nice. It's like, I just want to have a conversation with you on what's this conversation about Haralson County. So I think she thought I was talking shit about it, but she didn't approach it belligerently. She was really nice, actually, because when I explained to her where I was coming from, she's like, well, that's awful nice of you to say. So it turned into a really good conversation. But I'm guessing that there was, you know, people actually doing a drama. Of course, folks, I mean, we're all fucking high school kids, so people are going to laugh and all that bullshit because it makes you nervous because you don't have the goddamn balls to do it yourself. So you got to laugh and you got to make fun. And I'm guessing that's what she'd been dealing with all day. So she just assumed it was going to be more pile on stuff. And so it turned into a really nice conversation. But see, I never forgot that. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad, but it's just at least they fucking tried something, man. So that being the case, the kids on being the elite get out there and scrap and try to put all that shit together. And I'm like, it's a long fucking take for people just making stuff up. I don't know. Like I said, I think it's just not for me. But obviously, it's popular as shit. So it's keep doing what y'all doing. I don't need to watch it for it to be popular. So everybody wins. We're all good.
Yeah. One quick thing about Atlanta sports that happened this week and get your opinion on. We got a generational talent coming to the Falcons in Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
So everybody's supposed to lose their crap over that, but who knows? It's one of those kind of things. It's like I going into the draft, I was like, I heard all these rumors about trading up and trying to get this, that, and other thing, and everything I heard, I was like, I just think they're going to ask for way too much, you know. So I was glad they did what they did. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
There was absolutely no need to trade up for any of the people that went 1, 2, or 3. I agree with you completely. There's no need to move. And also, as far as trading up, if you were going, and this is what makes me so crazy, because no one will come out and say this, but you've heard it here for over a year. What did we talk about with Chase Young? When Chase Young was in the number 1 spot, it's like go to DC right now, offer them Julio Jones, your first round this year and next year, move up, draft Chase Young. Nobody wanted to hear that. Nobody wanted to talk about that. And it was all like, well, then you're idiots. But why in the world would you move up this year when you're in the 4th spot and everybody's drafting? What are you going to do? Who went first? Blondie, quarterback. Who went second? Mormon, quarterback. Who went third? North Dakota quarterback. Okay, well, you proved with your pick you weren't going to take a quarterback because Justin Fields was still sitting there. And if you were going to go quarterback, that's who you should have drafted. But if not, why the hell are you going to move forward? No need for that. No. With where they picked and with not moving back, with not trading out, with not doing any of that stuff, they made the right choice. I think that them passing on Fields is going to be one of those things that comes back to bite them on the ass. But there has to be context there too in this regard. Matt Ryan's contract was going to fuck you from taking a quarterback, period. That's why, again, trading up was such there's no way they were going to do that, because if you're stuck and you're not drafting a quarterback, you don't need to go up. You did good. You got the right guy. And I do think they got the right guy. I think Kyle Pitts was everybody's darling fantasy boy there for about a week and a half before the draft, which is totally okay. It doesn't mean he doesn't deserve it. It's just that if you finally get him to stop talking about what's his face from fucking Alabama, the quarterback, oh, Mac Jones, oh my God, Mac Jones, gotta go number 3, Mac Jones. Like, shut the fuck. Just, you've got to be kidding me, y'all. I get it. He went to Alabama, so, you know, his dick is halfway down your fucking windpipe. But not all of us fall all over ourselves for everybody at Alabama, especially not a fucking one-dimensional vanilla quarterback. I'm sorry, the game's not played like that anymore. Does Mac Jones got wheels? No? Well, then he wasn't a top 3 pick, so stop trying to act like it's this huge disgrace that nobody drafted him. He still wound up in New England, so you get to talk about that forever. But the thing is, I think that Atlanta did really, really good. I'm trying to just embed it in my mind right now, because 3 years from now, people are going to act like Justin Fields going 10th is like Tom Brady going when he went. Time will tell on that shit, man, including Blondie McClemson face. We've already seen the head-to-head between those guys. Justin Fields absolutely mauled that kid. He beat the ever-loving piss out of Sunshine. I'm sorry, Justin Fields doesn't look like a player from Remember the Titans. But it's just, my only thing with that, I feel bad for him, because you could tell when the Bears drafted him, he's like, fuck, you could just tell. It was Eli Manning not wanting to go to the Chargers. And that sucks. I hate that shit for him. I really do. I'm assuming that after having been in Columbus, he was looking forward to getting somewhere warm, man.
Yeah.
But it's cool. The Bears have never drafted quarterbacks well. Maybe they finally broke their Ziggy. Maybe this will be the guy. And that'll be real cool. But anyway, I'm sorry, I got way sidetracked, but I'm totally with you. I think that the fact that Atlanta did not move up tells you they weren't drafting a quarterback. And so, yeah, with them sticking, I think they made 100% the right choice. That's awesome.
Glad to hear it. So, I was like, and it's, you know, when it comes down to the draft, there's a lot of it just kind of like, we might as well just draw a name out of a hat, you know, when it comes to some of that stuff.
Yeah, it's a good idea, man. I mean, I know that we've talked about it, and it's funny that people you could have like the first 6 picks be quarterbacks this year. It's amazing. And have you seen the Jets? They're drafting a quarterback again already. And it's like, you and I, hey, man, if you watch the show regularly, thank you, by the way, and you already know where this is going, because we've talked about it before, man. St. Timothy, Michael Patrick, Christopher, whatever the fuck his middle names are, president of the Philippines, Tebow, was the beginning of this. Literally, if you're watching us back then, we talked about it then. Tim Tebow was drafted in the first round because by that time, the NFL had taken such a blade to rookie deals that you're going to get guys cheap enough to where you can bring them in, give them 2 years, in Tebow's case, sell a bunch of jerseys, and then show them the fucking exit door. It's exactly what happened with him and Johnny Manziel. And what's his face for the Jets? I don't remember now. Sam Darnold, I think, is the kid they've already gotten rid of. It's happened multiple times, and that's why. You have one position in the NFL that you have to pay. So, dude, if you move the guys through on 3-year deals, bye. That's exactly what they're doing. So, all that's fine. We've been trying to get to all quarterbacks in the first round anyway. Everybody wants a new quarterback. Okay, fine. But that being the case that we didn't do, that's good. I don't know if it's good or not. I think it's just that if you could actually get someone to talk logical sense about the deal with Matt Ryan, because Matt Ryan won an MVP and took a team to a Super Bowl, and that's the only time anybody gets paid. And Matt was smart with his deal where basically it's broken down, and I think it was a 4-year period. And his money for individual seasons is guaranteed. It's not like the Falcons can walk away from it, which is fascinating because that never happens in the NFL. But that's the problem, is you got to pay him for 2 more years anyway. So if you draft another quarterback, you're paying 2 guys crazy money to play the same position, because you can't move on from Matt. You can't trade him, because if he says no, because that's the whole deal is, well, there's no guarantee that Matt Ryan wouldn't waive his no trade clause. What makes you think that? I can tell you exactly why he wouldn't do it. If Atlanta trades you away, that sweetheart deal for guaranteed money you've got goes away. No one else is ever going to agree to that, so that means the ball's back in Maddie's court to never agree to walk away from it. There's no reason on earth why he shouldn't. Anyway, I'm getting way sidetracked on that. I am bummed that Fields is not a Falcon. I do understand it, and that being the case, I think that them taking Florida, I always forget his name, Pitts, I think, yeah, Kyle Pitts. Awesome idea, man. Awesome idea.
And I think a lot of the trade stuff when it comes to them was either, there was nothing to trade up to get. So I think part of it was like, well, will they go back? And I was like, nah, just stay where you're at.
Yeah, if you want that, if that's the guy you want. Hell yeah, you're right there because he wouldn't have been around for much longer. So it's all good. It's cool what they did. I thought as far as trades and whatnot, I thought all the Aaron Rodgers hoopla was fucking precious because it's a lie. It's a fucking lie. It's like the day of the draft. That story breaks the day of the draft. You think I'm actually going to believe you that there's any chance this is happening? You're fucking crazy. It's just you doing that thing that you do where you pretend you're the NBA. Well, it's just there's just so much power in the NBA with the players' union, and it's just Aaron Rodgers doing what a basketball player would. Yeah, except you don't play basketball, so he can't do that. Y'all love to talk about stars and marketability. And then it's just, like I say, man, the NBA gets bladed for several reasons. The number one thing is that, don't get me wrong, people at ESPN, people in corporate media, period, they do not like that strong union. No doubt about that whatsoever. The fact that NBA labor is so strong, they hate that. Don't get it fucked up. People, I just don't want there to be any politics in my sports. Too bad. They're there because that's literally, it's the reason you and I talked about it a little bit with the Oscar show last week. People in Hollywood are what they are for a very specific reason, and it's because they serve a function in the system of government that we actually have. And this is the system this is the function they perform. If you've ever worked anywhere, you know how it goes. You're here, or maybe you're the assistant manager. Maybe you're the manager, but one way or the other, there's a pecking order. And the reason that pecking order exists, the only reason assistant managers are where they are, is because if the manager fucks up, you need some heads to roll. And the managers are where they are because if corporate fucks up, heads need to roll. Same thing. It's always the same thing. So Hollywood's function, as far as the government is concerned, is you are the only group of people in this country that are allowed to be vilified for how much money you have. Go. That's it. Who else do we talk about? No one ever talks about CEOs. No one ever talks about billionaires. No one ever talks about, like we talk about all the time with sports. People always side with the owners. And it's like, well, get paid millions of dollars to play a game. Motherfuckers writing checks for billions of dollars to pay for this workforce, but it never occurs to you to go in the backyard and pretend you're a CEO, so you don't care about them. You need somebody you can be jealous of. As you were John Elway in your backyard, you know what I'm saying? That's totally what Hollywood is. It's the reason that people are propped up and handed the money they are because they serve a function. And anytime we need to not talk about people in politics anymore, it's Oscar time. Great. Cool. We can talk shit about them. And we won't talk about the people that literally get their salaries out of your tax money and then write tax law that takes even more shit from you. But no. That Mel Gibson, he's a jerk. Oh, Russell Crowe, what a prick. That's the point. That's what they're there for. I just don't know what those people do to earn all that money. That's it. They're a fucking doormat. They're a bulletproof vest for people in D.C. That's what they're there for, man. They are the middle management of D.C. And that's why, politicians are what they are. They are the layer of insulation between normal Joes like us and the people that actually run the country, which is like CEOs and the bourbon class, as I heard them referred to the other day. It was explaining, what the heck was that breakdown? That's frustrating. But it was about Kentucky. It was about politics in Kentucky way back in the day, and they were describing the bourbon class, and I'm like, well, that's a good way to describe it, man. That makes total sense.
Speaking of Tim Tebow, did you hear that he's going to reunite with Urban Meyer and be the greatest tight end in the history of the world, greater than Kyle Pitts?
I have heard. Well, Tim Tebow's going to be a tight end every year since he left Florida.
Yeah.
It's always Tim Tebow. He's going to be a tight end. He'll be an amazing tight end. What's Tim Tebow's 40 time? What's Tim Tebow's vertical?
I'm sure it's nothing like it what used to be.
I'm talking about when he went to the combine. Fuck what it is right now. I'm talking about his best day in Gainesville. Tim Tebow is a fucking potato with legs. He has no athleticism at all. None. Watch that idiot try to throw a ball in to the fucking infield during his majestic minor league run.
Yeah.
Tim Tebow is the most propped up and created special effect in the history of football. There is a reason that a cash cow like that got shown the door. And it's because the NFL realized, to their credit, we cannot keep propping this fucking fraud up without red flags going up. Because if you actually paid attention to his little run in Denver where, oh man, comeback win after comeback win after comeback win, people, there's too many people tracking Las Vegas now. Because if you were tracking Las Vegas then, you could tell instantly when the fix went in. It's crap. It's crap. The guy has never actually accomplished anything. That he was literally the Mouseketeer that ESPN decided was going to usher college football to the forefront. Because 06, yeah, that's right. That's when they decided, oh, the SEC network's a good idea. And hey, let's do a college football playoff. It's all bullshit. That's when college football died. And Tim Tebow is an absolute, he's awful. That guy is, it's just such a lie. If you actually like the guy, I don't know anyone that actually likes the game that was ever impressed by anything that guy did, because he never did shit. He never accomplished anything, ever. He's just such a media creation. It's Roy Hobbs, man. It's just, it's so ridiculous. But this notion of him switching over and being a tight end, I got bad fucking news for you. Tim Tebow was unathletic as an NFL quarterback. It's a quarterback. You need to be a hell of a lot more athletic to be a fucking tight end than you do to be a quarterback. I'm talking about even during his career, during his playing days. Everyone thinks it'll work because of, I forgot his dadgum name, man. Crap. It was one of the kids that was actually at Florida backing him up. And Jordan Reed, that's who it was. Jordan Reed was next Tim Tebow. He's going to be the next Tim Tebow. And they couldn't get him on the field, so they moved him to tight end. And I think he made the Pro Bowl for Washington. He's really good at it. But for some reason, everybody thinks now, put him at tight end. It'll be good. I hope to God they do. I hope they do. Tim Tebow go across the middle one time against the third string, get his ass blown up like Kentucky, and you'll never hear from him again if there is a God. Oh, man, I just hate this guy so much. It is just because he is the embodiment of when college football died for me. So that's one of the reasons I don't like him. But I just cannot believe, well, he couldn't hack it as a quarterback. Let's try him at tight end. You are out of your fucking mind. You're out of your mind. The only position you could even begin to think to try him out at is fullback, and there ain't no fullbacks left. So do you want to make him your short yardage down, your third down back? If Tim Tebow has to be in the fucking NFL, if we just have to get St. Timothy a fucking NFL job, put him on a team, give him minimum wage, and have him be a goal line back, because that'll work. But anything else you try and do with him, okay. But when he gets fucking killed, that's on y'all. Remember how upset you got when the Kentucky kid came up talking all that shit? Oh, it's just classless. He's trying to hurt Tim Tebow. Somebody at the time, I thought the way they put this was perfect. It's like, see, that's the problem with putting that Superman S on somebody's chest. That's the problem with anointing somebody as the guy. Because when I come around the corner and kill the guy, I'm the guy that killed Superman. And you goddamn right you gonna fucking hear about it, because all I've heard is how he's the best, he's the greatest. Oh my God, Tim Tebow. So yeah, if I knock him on his ass and he's seeing stars and like puking his guts out because he's concussed, yeah, I'm gonna fucking chirp a little bit, motherfucker. And so I can't believe it's like, oh, that's just not right. That's class. It's the same thing they said about what's his name, man? Khabib, the UFC guy that absolutely humbled Lucky Charms, or whatever the fuck his name is, and then jumps out of the ring to go beat up his boys. Oh my God, he's just out of control. That's just terrible. It's out of control. If Conor McGregor had done the same thing
Mm-hmm.
you guys would still not have your head out of his ass. And it's exactly,
Connor
it's
doing what Connor does. We
the
love it.
double standard is fucking hilarious. Like, get the fuck out of here. It's the same thing you and I talk about it. When homie went after dude with the helmet. Oh, that's assault with deadly weapon, man. They put him in jail. Throw him out of the league. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. Oh my God. Well, you must not have seen Rob Gronkowski go fucking Macho Man Randy Savage on homie that recovered that fumble against the Patriots the next week. So I have bad news for you. You take a helmet and swing it at somebody with 3 people between you. Yeah, it sucks. If you actually do any damage to the guy, considering the situation, it's not like we're just standing there and you whack me in the face with a football helmet. That's not what it was. But if we are standing here and you hit me in the back of my fucking head with your elbow, that is what Gronkowski did. And it's not that he wasn't suspended for it. People act like it's, what are you talking about? There's nothing to that. Sorry, man. Like I said, I just watch too much Japanese wrestling, I guess, to not understand that anything that happens at the base of the neck, that will
Not
kill
good.
you.
Not good.
That can kill you. And it's like, nah, man. Gronkowski goes diving in with his RoboCop arm, and people pat him on the ass. Well, I hate that guy too, man. It's like Tebow's worse. Tebow's worse because at least Gronkowski did contribute. He played well. Tim Tebow didn't play well at Florida.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
So that was the thing when I saw that story break, and for it to be with all the teams, other than Jacksonville, like, isn't this kind of fitting for him to go there and be destroyed?
Oh, dude, that's the whole thing. It's a Florida team, and Urban's gonna give him a job because Urban loves Tim. It's like, okay, all right.
But at the same time, as somebody texted me about it, because I that was the first I'd heard of it was from this text, and then I started thinking, like, it feels like maybe it hasn't been as long, but it feels like all that Tim Tebow and the NFL said, wasn't that like at least 10 years ago?
It does seem like it was a long time ago, and I'm just with you. I don't know why everybody thinks this guy belongs in the NFL, and I guess I'm thinking honestly, all this talk about. I'm thinking that all this talk about moving positions and shit like that, part of it is what I was saying earlier, because I'm telling you, I'm convinced I'm right about that. You can't play him at quarterback because he was just awful. He was so bad, they turned down selling jerseys and told him to leave because it's like, dude, if the cat comes out of the bag, this shit is orchestrated. We lose everything. We're not doing that. So the position change. Okay, that's just tight end is just ridiculous. I mean, I just can't believe that people don't understand how important that position is, especially in modern football. Everyone knows. Come on, don't be ridiculous. But the main thing that my other facet of it has always been, Tim Tebow deserves the opportunity to be a quarterback in the NFL. He was never given a fair shake, and he deserves it. Every time people say Tim Tebow deserves to be a quarterback in the NFL, the first thing that happens in my head is a voice going like, "Oh, not before Kaepernick." And there you go. If you change positions, now you can get your golden boy back and you can sell a few more fucking jerseys, but you won't have to answer that element of it. That's, and all that stuff sounds crazy, but dude, if you live in this country long enough and see the way that businesses operate in the name of, well, you gotta avoid the lawsuit first and foremost. That's the number one thing in the world. But, I don't know. That's kind of messy. That's kind of an ugly situation. But what if he wasn't a quarterback? That makes more sense than people thinking he can actually be good. Because again, even with Urban Meyer being the guy, Jordan Reed was a quarterback that Tim Tebow, that Urban Meyer moved from quarterback to tight end. And like I said, the guy made the Pro Bowl, man. It's excellent. It's fantastic. There was also, and let's keep this on the down low because we don't like to tarnish poor Timothy, but there was a tight end at Florida around the same time that Tim Tebow was playing there, and his name was Aaron Hernandez. Now let's. I'm sorry. No, there's just a little spider on my floor. I was just trying to see what he was. Anyway, sorry, man. But now the thing about Aaron Hernandez, let's just talk about the player. Just the player. Aaron Hernandez was a kid that Urban Meyer recruited and brought to the University of Florida. So if that's the standard for what he wants a tight end to be, do you really think this old, broke down, dumpy, non-athletic when he was young, piece of crap is going to make muster. I think you're out of your mind. I think you're
Yeah.
crazy. Again, bring him in, let him run short down, a short yardage situation stuff where he can be, but again, got to line him up at tailback, but whatever, man. Bring him back. I know you guys want to because he's just such a good Christian boy. We love him. Oh, he's such a nice boy, but spare me with that tight end shit. There's no way. Ain't no way.
Trying to get Josh going, y'all.
If you mention Tebow, it'll work because I really genuinely don't like that guy. He is everything that's wrong with made-for-TV football, especially college football, because that was it. That was the late. I'm trying to think of the last team I saw that I really thought was. I think the last team that was really just like world beater, good God Almighty, holy shit, was probably Florida State in 1999. No, that's not fair because Miami in 2001 was pretty spectacular. But basically, Ohio State and Miami are to blame for all this stuff because as soon as ESPN saw how much money they could make off that, they decided to move in and make college football their thing. And really, I thought the story was told, in my opinion. The story is still told when you talk about the Fiesta Bowl. OSU Miami. What network was that on? That was on ABC.
Mm-hmm.
Does ABC even try and run college football playoffs or the national title now? No, they don't because no one gives a shit. The fact that ESPN gets all that and gets to run all of that, and that's their little special bauble, tells you that nobody cares. If a network is not vying for it, they don't care. We don't care.
we don't care.
Yeah, man. But anyway, I do appreciate the avenue of discussing the position change because that's real shit. Because I'm here to tell you something, man. If you brought that Pumpkinhead back to play quarterback before Colin Kaepernick,
crazy talk.
Yeah, that's not going to go over well. You're going to get lots of ugly questions that you don't want to answer.
I don't know what that did. Yeah. My other thing I got caught up with this week, I had a fun time watching it, is the A&E biographies that they've been doing. Last Sunday night, I couldn't discuss it because I hadn't watched it all yet. I watched Rowdy Piper and
Rodney Piper.
Had a fun time watching it, dug it, but there wasn't a whole lot of new stuff with that one, which surprised me a little bit. But nonetheless, I didn't enjoy it as much as some people that I heard that were going on about how much they loved it. I was like, y'all, I dig Rowdy just as much as anybody, but it felt to me like this is one of those that are kind of like, it's not. I'm not going to sit here and say that A&E took a week off, but they were like, this one's, it was not as good as Stone Cold, and it wasn't as good as Randy. They did Randy tonight, and I guess Randy is kind of the same thing. There's not a whole lot new, but I just love him so much. I couldn't help it.
I can't not watch.
Yeah. The one thing about the Piper biography that I haven't heard anybody mention is they sit down and they talk with Mr. T, building up to Mania 1. And I don't know what in the heck Mr. T is wearing during this interview. He looks like a straight up hobo. I don't know if his idea was to wear a shirt that Piper gave him back in '84 or whatever it was, but he's got like this black Under Armour looking thing and this white ratty holes all in it undershirt over that I'm like, why hasn't anybody addressed this? Why hasn't anybody been like, what is going on with Mr. T? My God, that looks trashy.
Mr. T in his Brooklyn Brawler garb.
For real, it is not a good look. So, but there's the big stuff I guess that you could say was new about the Piper biography was they do sit down and spend a lot of time with his kids, and not only his kids but his wife, and that was there's his episode begins with just this terrible joke that's coming from Vince, where he's taking this phone call, that I'm sure a lot of people heard about. That it's just like, who, and because that's been the selling point with a lot of this stuff on A&E. Is like, there's cooperation with WWE, but it's A&E's say on what gets in and who they talk to and a lot of this other stuff. I'm like, what channel, company, organization would see that at the front and be like, yeah, that needs to stay in. That's hilarious. I like
Um,
it.
the impression that I got is that A&E's opinion wasn't that it was hilarious. It's that the impression that I got, this is just the people that I heard breaking it down, it was that after you deal with Vince McMahon's company to get permission to make this stuff, you can't wait to expose what a piece of shit he is. That's
Yeah.
literally what they were saying. It's like that's A&E's revenge. Is if he's going to be dumb enough to do something that stupid on their camera, and then they get final cut, oh, it stays in because it's all like, and I'm like, now that makes sense to me, man, because Vince is a fucking turd. He is a terrible guy. He always has been a terrible guy. They kept that house closed for a reason. It's because you always hear negative shit, but you don't see negative shit. Well, here you go. It's the same reason I say it all the time, man. Dude, everybody involved, the Montreal screw job, can say whatever the fuck they want. It was real, man. That shit was real. It really happened. It's real. Vince's bullshit pantomime stumble bumble through the fuck. Now, the fact that shit was in that movie tells you it's fucking fake. Fuck all y'all. I don't believe any of you, man. Still waiting for the Bret Hart deathbed confession. Just like, fuck y'all, man. It's like, no, this shit's not real. Because if it was real, first of all, why do you show up if you're Vince? And secondly, oh, if that guy comes into this locker room, I'm gonna punch him in his face. I'm gonna knock him right out if you're here when I get out of the shower vents. It's like, really? So you just put this shit together? Why in the world? Well, there were fans there, and I didn't want to blow my top. Oh, is that why you went out and threw all the shit on the floor? See what I mean? It's like if you were really that hot and that pissed about it, you would whip that guy's ass on the spot. On the spot. It's like, come on, man. It's like, no, because there would be like a lawsuit, not a lawsuit for punching him in the face in the locker room. See what I mean? It's like none of that stuff tracks. None of it makes any sense. And my main thing has always been Shawn Michaels ain't that good of an actor. The indignation that Shawn Michaels has to get out of the ring all fast and stuff. Yeah, but you didn't fucking leave the belt there, did you? Like, get the fuck out of here, man. All of y'all are full of shit.
Don't get my shit in.
Yeah, that was the bomb threat. That was but yeah, I'm with you on like the oh god, it's hot down there. It's all like because when people broke down the reason they suspected the joke got left in, I'm like, now that makes sense because like you said, they've been dealing with this fucking prick, and so it's all like, yeah, fucking you, brother. You might want to keep that creative control clause right in your hand.
It's at the top.
Yeah.
It kicks off the episode to kind of we're going to give you a window into who's talking here.
Into this guy. Let me get this guy real quick. Cause, never mind. He ran away. If he ever comes over here close enough, I'll get him. But
now there was some cool stuff, man. That with getting into some of Roddy's history with Flair and even the UFC guy that trained Ronda Rousey and all that stuff. What in the world was his name? That I didn't realize had such a close connection with Piper. Trying to remember. Gene LaBelle's the only name I can think of, but I don't think that's who they talked to. What in the heck was I thinking about? Anyway, turns out I was trying to look it up and see that if I am that stupid, but anyway, point is that there was what's the guy? What's that? Keith? I think it's Keith David from They Live. Sat down and talked with him, and he just had nothing but good stuff to say about how like I was the safest I've ever been is in that fight with Rowdy that went on for ever.
Yeah, for that 3.5 hour fight.
You know, and he even told the story about how he's there, they're on the set, and his kind of you know adrenaline's pumping, and there's this one take that he just like straight up just connects and just knocks the crap out of him. He's like, yeah, "It's totally good, brother. It's totally good."
We're good. Good
So,
fight, man.
so but there's it's definitely worth a watch. But it's one of those that the Stone Cold one just left you with such a high
Yeah.
at the end that you just didn't quite get with the Rowdy one. Not like I
Hard
was expecting.
hard to get back up there. I can see that, man.
Yeah.
Mentioned They Live. That's always my favorite Roddy Piper story,
Mm-hmm.
man. Because you're right with the biography coming out, like everybody's shooting reviews or comments or things like that have been cycling through YouTube, and it was just one where he was doing the just basic recap and stuff like that. And of course, they want to talk about this fallout with Vince and all that stuff. And there's just this one thing that Roddy says. I just love the way he says it because I don't know. There was something about it that it's either the practicality of it is so smart that you take your cap off to him, or if the excitement is real, that makes it even neater. He got to do the movie, but it was talking about going to do They Live and how Vince was trying to convince him not to do it. And like, look, man, just cancel that stuff. I'll get you a Hollywood movie in 4 months. La-di-da, you just stay put. We'll get you in a movie. We'll get you in a movie in 4 months. And Piper's immediate reaction is like, yeah, but John Carpenter ain't gonna be directing that one. And I just
Mm-hmm.
love that was. It's like that's like I said. If he was excited to work with John Carpenter, awesome. I'm glad he got to. But even if he's not, if he's just from a practical standpoint, I'm like, God, what a cool thing to say. That's
Yeah.
an awesome point, man. I love that story, man. And every time I hear it, I've heard it multiple times, but it's every time I hear it, I'm like, God, I love that. It was just
I,
so cool.
I'm not looking to do No Holds Barred 2
Yeah,
or Mr.
yeah,
Nanny 2.
dude. Seriously, I was already in Body Slam, brother. This is
Yeah.
not that. Yeah,
No, thank you.
yeah. It was like this is cool, man.
Hmm.
I love that line.
Yeah. And so tonight was Randy, and man, it's one of those dudes you can never hear enough about. It's freaking love it, and dug that one a ton.
That's
I
awesome, man.
that's the best review I can give. It's like, man, it was just freaking awesome. I just dug a lot of it. But man, it goes into some of the Elizabeth and stuff and the control issues and and they do it now. It's the fact that you look back and you watch a lot of those promos with Randy. It's kind of like it's cringy, but
Yeah, they're uncomfortable.
it's a window into what was going on at that time. How much of that was a character? How much of that was really going on? Uh, but it's like, well, we wouldn't do that again. But I my deal with it's I've always I felt like you could have I guess this is where I disagree with a lot of the people that sit down and talk with uh, A&E. I think you could have Randy without Elizabeth, but you couldn't have Elizabeth without Randy, because when it comes to her being a manager, who's managing who?
Yeah,
He was
was
the one telling her what to do.
Elizabeth was only there because Randy was a psycho without her. It's like you talk about the person in wrestling history that has contributed absolutely nothing, that
Hmm.
has like just this legacy that I don't understand.
Yeah,
That's it. I'm totally
yeah,
with you. It's like, yeah, I don't get that at all. Randy Savage without Elizabeth is still Randy fucking Savage. Y'all are
yeah,
crazy. You're
yeah,
crazy. And the shit that he did with Sherry was better anyway. So
yeah. Yeah. And if that's what you know the payoff for having Elizabeth there was their reunion. That was when it gets to that part of the A&E coverage, like you feel it, like, oh man, that was a good moment. But uh, I don't think she was as essential as some people that try to tell you she was that sit down
yeah,
and talk with him.
I agree. I've never understood that. I don't get that at all, man. The only Elizabeth story I've ever heard that I even liked was the one where Randy tries to lock her in the dressing room and Sherry
Mhm.
was in there and
Yeah.
Sherry telling the story. It's like as soon as that door got open, she was ready to fucking murder him, and I believe she would have done it too. And it was all
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Fucker, I ain't married to you." It's,
Mm-hmm.
if she puts up with that bullshit, that's between y'all. But you ain't doing that shit to me. I was like, man, I'd be
Mm-hmm.
scared to death if Sherry Martell
Oh,
was.
definitely.
If Sherry Martell was barking at me like that, I'd be fucking terrified, man.
I, I was just messing around.
I did not realize. I did not realize. I'm very, very sorry. Sensational Queen won.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I know we've talked about it before, man, but I know we've discussed because uh, the shoot interview with Sherry was awesome. And then
Oh, yeah.
I thought I don't know why people give her a hard time, and it's not everybody, but some people give Sherry a hard time for her Hall of Fame speech. I thought it was great. It was just she
Yeah.
was so cool. But one of my favorite things, I think it's one of those. There's an old candid photo of her and the Undertaker backstage somewhere, and this is during like purple rings under the eyes, gray gloves, never break character for nothing Undertaker. And so what would he and Sherry have to do at all? But it's just this really great picture of the two of them together. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
But one of my favorite things that I've ever seen is Sherry's reaction to Hulk Hogan, "We Coming for You."
Mm-hmm.
Because she's like such a pro about it the whole time. And you can tell Booker's like, I can't believe I just did that. And she looks him dead in the face and has this really sweet smile, but you can just tell by her eyes she's like, don't worry about it, man. You're still the man, dude. Don't it ain't no thing. It's amazing just what she conveys by looking at him.
Mm-hmm.
And she's laughing, but it's not like making fun of him. It's all like, it's okay, man. I promise you, you're gonna be okay. It's incredible. Never even says anything, but if you just watch her, that's what her countenance conveys. And I'm like, it's impressive as hell. That's locker
Yeah.
room leadership right there. It was
Yeah.
so cool. It's such a cool thing, man.
It, it happened.
Yeah,
Anything you can do about it.
it's all good now, bro. Don't worry about it. You're fine.
Yeah.
You're still the man, baby. Don't you worry about it. It was cool. It was
Yeah.
such a cool thing for her to do, man. I love it.
Yeah, man. So, man, that was my watch of the night. Just sitting down and checking out the Randy, the Randy stuff.
So, Randy,
Yeah.
um, I finally, this is dumb, but I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to watch it tonight because I got things to do tomorrow. I think I'm gonna watch it tonight. I think I'm gonna do another round, and I haven't watched it yet, but I've got my Google survey rewards money up enough to where now I can do both the movies I want to see. So I'm like, now I don't feel bad about spending the money.
Okay.
But the only thing I have watched recently is I got on Netflix and I watched the for Pete's sake, why can't I remember his doggone name? Oh, Willem Dafoe. Sorry, the Willem Dafoe Vincent Van Gogh movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because I like Vincent Van Gogh, and I'm like, oh yeah, that looks good. That'll be cool. And it was quite good. Paul Gauguin is the best because it's Oscar Isaac, and that guy. Every time anything that guy is in, I'm like, yeah. And it was so cool to see. I had no idea he was in it because it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, Willem Dafoe's playing Vincent Van Gogh, and it's like, well, I'm done. I don't need to read anything more at all. I want to see this. So
Mm-hmm.
then it's cool to just see who else pops up, crops up, and turns in. And it's quite good. I mean, it's Van Gogh, so it's sad, but it's good. It's actually really quite good. But my favorite thing about it is there were just a lot of scenes that are him like walking through fields, and this is when he's in southern France, and he's like just walking through fields, and it's all good, and a lot of stuff is like from real far away, and there are several shots that literally look like if you've seen some of the paintings he did of like the wheat fields and just fields in the south of France. It's either where he literally painted those things or a countryside that looks just like it. So it's really cool. It's like the character just walking around, and the way it's set up and framed, it looks like he's walking on what eventually would be a canvas. It's really cool. That was neat. I thought that was awesome. Then he gets to the end, and it says a film directed by for Pete's sake, his name just shot right into my doggone head, and I'll tell you why in a second. What is wrong with me? Oh man. Here's what happened the other day. This is so stupid. I can't believe I forgot it. There is an old photographer named Anton Corbin who
Mm-hmm.
used to do like, he was real famous for like his photographs of U2 and stuff like that. And then he directed the movie about Joy Division called Control.
Oh yeah.
And that's the confusion is it's like it's a painter. It's a guy that used to he was a super famous painter way back in the day, and he did the diving bell and the butterfly. See, the only thing that won't come back is his freaking name. I'll get it in a second. But that's the whole thing. It's like with it being somebody that appreciates art and that really wants to talk about the artist. Let me think of it, man. I promise it's real close.
All right.
Somebody that wants to, do a Valentine to Van Gogh. It makes sense that they would go and shoot places that he filmed, and that's in the scene. And it's like, that's pretty cool. Julian Schnabel, thank you very much for waiting so long. I appreciate it, man.
I wasn't going to pronounce that last name right anyway.
Me neither. I have never said it right. I had a friend of mine that knew it. My buddy Tasha, her dad is like the king of prog rock and art. He's just a very interesting guy, and he was always a fan in like the 70s. I think is when he really started to kind of make his name. So that's the only reason I learned how to say it. But he did a movie, The Diving Bell and the Butterfly. It's an incredibly sad movie. Read a synopsis please read a synopsis before you watch that movie, because the subject matter is definitely not for everybody. But if it sounds like something you might be into, it's very, very good. And then At Eternity's Gate was the name of the Van Gogh movie. But it was just cool. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Because I really liked the setup anyway. But then when it's like, man, I bet that was like super personal and exactly what he was trying to do, then I just liked it even better. But it's unfortunate because that's like all I've done lately as far as watching things. But that one was good. I liked it. Excuse me. And I have got I finally made my decisions. I still keep wanting to say Bottle Shock all the time because I'm just crazy, but I'm definitely doing another round. And then I think the other one I'm going to do is House of Tolerance. I got that list of movies that were suggestions from Deep Focus Lens, and I have not done good. I haven't been back to it. I've watched the two that I mentioned, but House of Tolerance will be the next one. I'm super excited about it.
Cool.
Not tonight. I think I'm going to do another round tonight.
I could roll.
Yeah, man.
Heck yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about.
That's exactly what we're talking about, man. I guess that's about it. I don't really think I've done anything else, man. Just, going out for walks and listening to old rock and roll records, man. I shouldn't say old, but stuff that we grew up on anyway.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, I'll tell you one that I just get stuck in my head a lot, and I put it on today and actually listened to it, and I just I don't ever seem to put it on list, and I should put it on list, is the first Foo Fighters record, man. I'm not a huge I think the Foo Fighters are great. It's just the Foo Fighters are being the elite. I totally understand why people like them so much. It's just not really my thing. But that first record is nothing but Dave. Everything on that first album is him. I think the only exception is oh, shoot. I think the last song on it is called Exhausted, and it's got this real funky, melody guitar intro. And this might all be incorrect, but I think that's Jay Mascis from Dinosaur Jr. And literally everything else you hear on that record is him. And I love that. And it's cool because there were huge songs off of there, like I'll Stick Around and Big Me, which has the fantastic music video. All that stuff is cool. All of that stuff is fine, man. But there are a couple of deep cuts on there. Lone and Easy Target and Good Grief. I mean, those songs are fucking awesome. And then Exhausted that I was talking about a second ago. It's fantastic stuff, man. So it's one of those records where everything is good, but then the famous stuff is fun. Everyone gets it. But then you just play that one start to finish. I love it. I think it's totally awesome. And then my other one, there's two other ones, and then I'll get over it. Celebrity Skin by Hole, which I've always thought was underrated. But it wasn't, it was actually kind of recent that I went back and listened to it and just played it. Just hit play and listened to it all the way through. Because, the big hits are fine. There's nothing wrong. Like Celebrity Skin, that's a fine song. What else was huge off of there? Malibu, which I think is probably the best single that band ever had. That is such an impressive song. Everybody shits on Courtney Love's songwriting, and I'm like, if Courtney Love had sold that song and let anybody else record it, y'all would all be pissing yourselves because it's such a good song. It's like, that's fucking top 40. It's so good. I love that song. But you keep going. There's a song in there called Dying that is depressing as shit, but of course I love it because it's depressing as shit. But something neat, if you guys want to listen to the whole song Dying, I'm pretty sure it's track 6 on Celebrity Skin. It's a neat thing you can do if you're interested. Take your headphones, plug in your headphones, and then take this one out, because what you will hear on the, if I've got it wrong, you'll know when it starts, but I'm pretty sure it's the right channel, is literally like just her voice. And man, it seems like that's all it is, and then just the occasional little clack on the drums for timekeeping, and that's it, all the way through the chorus. And then it gets to the second verse, and it's still just her voice and the little drum clack. But when it gets to the chorus, then the bass line is in there. But just having just those things it's a great song anyway. But man, if you 50-50 it and just listen to her say it, and then the bass line's amazing after that second chorus, or in the second chorus, it was awesome. I couldn't believe it. I just did it one night for fun. And I'm like, God, I'm just going to listen to this song like this forever. This is awesome, man.
Heck yeah, man.
It's great stuff. And then the last one is Lateralis by Tool. I can't stop playing it. I love it, man, because I love, as much, Tool's got a lot of songs that I really, really like most people that like Tool, but I do think they have a definitive song that is my favorite. It is Lateralis. Lateralis is, for Tool, it's one of the more straightforward songs they've ever done, but it's just so perfect. It's perfect. But my other one on there that absolutely kills me is it's technically the third track, but it's actually the second song. It's called "The Patient," because you start with The Grudge, and everybody knows The Grudge. That song is amazing, absolutely incredible. And then there's this little piece of like just instrumental snippetry right there in the middle, and then The Patient starts. And I think the thing about listening to that album is I believe it's 12 or 13 tracks, but it's only about 8 songs because you've got several little instrumental interludes thrown in there. So I think there's only about 8 songs on it. And if you dip your toe barely in the water of listening to Tool, of those 8 songs, dude, you know 4 of them instantly. I mean, it's like just huge things that everybody knows. So that being the case, I think this is something that all of the best rock and roll albums, really just all best albums ever, all have in common, is that the hits are fun to listen to, and then the stuff in between would be a hit on any other record. It's amazing whenever somebody really is hitting that stride like that. Sorry. And that's the thing with The Patient, is literally you go from The Grudge, for songs, not including the music stuff, you go from The Grudge to Patient to Schism. These are like 2 pillars of Tool, and you've got the song in between them, and it's every bit as good as they are. It's just that not everything gets to be a single. So basically, by the time Schism starts, when you're listening to that album, you know you are listening to some special stuff because everything has been epic, and it's awesome. That's such a good, and it's cool because the stuff, I've always thought 10,000 Days was incredibly underrated, and it's cool. It's getting its due now, man, because it was just one of those things where when it came out, well, it's not as good as Lateralis. You're right. Most things in the history of rock and roll aren't as good as Lateralis, so I get it. But, time moves on, and people are all like, you know what? I actually kind of like that. I was like, yeah, me too. And then the reputation is not saved, but, people stop talking, or negatively. And then Fear Inoculum was the last one. I think everybody liked it. It was great, man. So all that stuff is cool.
Heck yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's rock and roll corner, man.
Hell yeah, man. Man, that's what's up, man.
Hell yeah. Thank you for watching, guys. We will see you on the next one.
Heck yeah, man. I'll see y'all.
Yeah.
Ah.